Coming up, governors will be held personally accountable for failure to achieve target indicators on attracting domestic and foreign investment. Kazakh TV correspondent will tell what else Prime Minister entrusted to state agencies. Recycling fee rates will be approved after coordination with the society. Ecology Minister answered the MP's questions about the payment for the disposal of vehicles and agricultural machinery.
На сегодняшний день в банках второго уровня на счетах.
To date, there are about 220 billion tenge in the second-tier banks on the accounts of the STB. Part of the money is in the national currency, part is in the US currency.
На национальной валюте, часть в долларах.
The Winter Olympics torch relay kicked off in Beijing. Stay tuned to find out more details. To justify the trust of the people and provide maximum support to the initiatives of the head of state, Speaker of the Mazhilis, Koshanov, at the meeting announced the priorities of the MP's work for the coming period. He noted that the work of the lower house of the parliament should be open, and lawmakers, in turn, must be closer to their constituents. The chairman also emphasized that it is important to intensify the close relationship of MPs with the civil sector and media representatives, in the regions with public activists. In addition, it is necessary to revise the format of meetings with the population and to involve representatives of NGOs, non-parliamentary and political parties, the expert community, and public opinion leaders in the decision of draft laws. Koshanov noted that all legislative work of the Mazhilis will take place in an open mode. An important area of work of the parliamentarians is to provide feedback to the population. Perhaps we need to strengthen the regional aspect in the legislative activity of our legislative work. In this regard, it seems productive to discuss socially sensitive bills in the regions. Such bills should be considered through the prism of improving the welfare of Kazakh residents. Last year, the volume of investment in fixed capital amounted to 13.2 trillion tenge, which is 7.3% more than in 2020. This was reported during a meeting of the investment team chaired by Kazakh Prime Minister Alexander Ismailov. An increase in investments is observed in non-primary sectors of the economy. For example, indexes of the physical volume of investments grew by 1.4 times in manufacturing industry, by 1.2 in construction, by 1.3 in agriculture. The annual plan for attracting investments and fixed capital is 94% complete countrywide. Shymkent City, Aktobe, and Kostanay regions demonstrate high rates. Governors of those regions that showed the worst results will be subjected to disciplinary measures, Alexander Ismailov said. Lagging regions should pay attention to the need for strict adherence to the established KPIs. Governors will be held personally accountable for failure to achieve target indicators. State bodies and governors' offices should continue systematically working on attracting domestic and foreign investment, he stressed. 10 main investing countries in Kazakhstan included the Netherlands, the US, Switzerland, China, Russia, UK, Belgium, Turkey, South Korea, and France. The volume of foreign direct investment in the country's economy has increased by 49% over 9 months of 2021, totaling $18.7 billion. Over 1 trillion tenge has been invested in fixed capital in the field of transport and warehousing since the beginning of 2021. This is 5% more than the previous year, Finprom.kz reported. The largest inflow of investment accounted for the capital of Kazakhstan, amounting to almost 191 billion tenge. The top three also included Almaty region with 169.6 billion tenge of investments and Almaty city with 121.5 billion. Half of the entire capital was provided by the enterprise's own funds. Over 2,000 expert investigations related to the January events have been commissioned, Kazakh Ministry of Justice announced. Besides that, forensic experts will have to determine the cause of death of those killed in the riots. The investigation will take up to 30 days. 26 experts have already been sent in addition to the existing staff of specialists in Almaty city. According to the Forensic Examination Center, they help conduct necessary investigation on site. Additional human resources were also involved in the regions that suffered during the state of emergency. New recycling fee rates for cars and agricultural machinery are supposed to be approved in the near future. They will be proposed and approved by the Ministry of Industry and Infrastructure Development after agreement with the public. This was stated by the Minister of Ecology, Geology and National Resources, during a meeting of the Mazhilis of the Parliament. He noted that special working groups on the revision of rates have been created for this purpose. All assets and funds for second-tier banks were transferred to the management of Жасыл Даму. The minister added that investigative measures and seizure of documentation services were carried out. They are connected now, and the collection of recycling fees was resumed.
В нашем министерстве создана комиссия из представителей юридического блока, департамента цифровых технологий, бюджетного планирования, которая сейчас непосредственно работает.
The Commission, including representatives of the legal unit, the Department of Digital Technologies, budget planning, has been created in the ministry, who are now directly working and considering all receipts and expenditures of funds in accordance with the activities of the EPR operator. To date, there are about 220 billion tenge in the second-tier banks on the accounts of the STB. Part of the money is in the national currency, part is in the US currency. The work is being carried out, and in the near future, we will approve the recycling fee rates for automotive and agricultural equipment.
Лежит она в национальной валюте, часть в долларах. Поэтому работа она проводится, и в ближайшее время, я думаю, мы уже утвердим ставки утилизбора на автомобильную и сельскохозяйственную технику.
Kazakhstan registered 7,149 coronavirus cases in the past 24 hours. The highest daily number of infected was recorded in the city of Almaty. 1,336 people tested positive for COVID-19 there. Karaganda region came next with 1,063 cases, followed by Nur-Sultan with 822 patients. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the total number of coronavirus cases detected in the country has already exceeded 1,246,000. Meanwhile, more than 135,000 patients continue to receive treatment for COVID to date, Kazakh Health Ministry reported. Over 10,000 out of them are in hospitals. Today, the number of Kazakh residents fully vaccinated with two components has exceeded 8,775,000. The United States will begin to vaccinate children from 6 months against coronavirus. The reason for this decision is the outbreak of the Omicron strain, since the wave of new variant of COVID-19 has increased the rate of illness among toddlers. The dose will be reduced and be only a tenth of that administered to adults, 3 micrograms. The use of the drug is planned for the end of February. According to doctors, children between the ages of 2 and 5 can receive a third dose of the vaccine. Due to the results of clinical studies, this age group did not develop a sufficient immune response.
Who suffer the most from...
Children are the most difficult to wear masks, who suffer the most from being isolated, but who are still at risk of COVID. Getting the vaccine is a critical part of helping those to prevent COVID among little kids and helping to move us all a little bit to normal life.
Who suffer the most from being...
Georgia is canceling green passports. This country has abandoned special certificates for visiting public places just 2 months after their introduction. This decision was made amid the Omicron spread. According to the Coordinating Council for Combating Coronavirus, COVID passports have lost their original purpose. It should be noted that more than 1,200,000 people received both components of the vaccine in Georgia, which is more than 40% of the population. Given the rapid spread of Omicron and the weak course of the disease, as well as taking into account world practice, the Interdepartmental Council decided to cancel the requirement for a green passport. However, all accounting systems remain in place, and those who need a green passport to travel abroad will still be able to use it. Italy has tightened restrictions for the unvaccinated. Now, people who refuse vaccination will not even be able to use the services of state institutions, because Italians will need to present a basic green pass. For example, unvaccinated pensioners without a green pass will not be able to receive a pension at the post office, and those who are over 50 years old can even pay a fine just for leaving the house. The authorities want not only to contain the growth of coronavirus infections, but also to convince as many people as possible to get vaccinated. The campus of the University of Arizona will open in Kazakhstan. The issues of creating a joint university based on North Kazakhstan University were discussed during an online meeting by the Ministry of Education and Science of the country and the president of the American university. The parties noted that the training will be held in English in pedagogical, IT, engineering, agro-technical areas. The main priority is the development of double-degree education program and joint scientific research. And foreign teachers and business representatives will be involved in the learning process. According to domestic professors, the opening of campuses of leading foreign universities in the country will make it possible to introduce world standards and new methods into the higher education system. Also, students who will study in the dual degree program will have the opportunity to study in the United States for 1 semester based on the home campus of the University of Arizona. In general, we plan that the implementation of such a project will significantly reduce the outflow of young people, as well as create an opportunity to receive international education without leaving our country. Editions with a 2-century history, a fragment of an old newspaper and an ancient prayer book were donated to the Hazret Sultan Museum Reserve in Turkistan. Turmagambet Lakhabayev, a resident of the city, kept ancient artifacts for many years. According to him, he received them from his ancestors at the age of 3. Museum specialists believe that these exhibits are of historical value. Now they study them, and later they will begin restoration. We kept these things that were passed down from generation to generation. We decided to donate the centuries-old heritage to the museum to preserve it forever. The book is in poor condition. The first and last pages are missing. Because of that, it is not possible to determine the year of its publication. As a result of the first review of the internal content of the remaining part, it is clear that the events between Adam and Satan were described in Turkic inscriptions, and the ways and methods of using individual letters and numbers to treat various bodily and spiritual diseases are also outlined.
және ауруларды емдеу дұғалары жазылған.
For the first time ever, the pavilion of Kazakhstan will open at the 59th Venice Biennale. This elite event will take place from 21st of April to 27th of November. At one of the most prestigious international art exhibitions, the transdisciplinary team Orta will represent our country. Their project is based on the ideas of the legendary Almaty artist Sergei Kalmykov. Our own national pavilion at the Venice Biennale is one of the most long-awaited events on the Kazakh art scene. This exhibition is devoted to the famous artist Sergei Kalmykov, the first Kazakh artist who inspired a large number of artists with his free spirit. I hope that the pavilion will become one of many projects that support and present Kazakh contemporary art both in the world and within the country, said Miruyat Kaleva, commissioner of the Kazakhstan pavilion at the Venice Biennale. The Venice Biennale takes place every 2 years and gathers more than 550,000 people a year. The Winter Olympics torch relay kicked off in Beijing. The solemn ceremony took place in one of the parks of the Chinese capital. The organizers had to significantly reduce the route and duration of the relay due to the pandemic. More than 1,000 people will carry the torch, which will be brought to the Bird's Nest National Stadium. The opening ceremony will be held there on February 4th. I am very happy. It is a great honor and a great responsibility for me. This torch carries the boundless love of the whole team of taikonauts for the motherland. We do sports on different equipment in outer space. I hope that in the future there will be also the equipment for winter sports. This is the first time I have held the Olympic torch, and I think the only one. I am happy and excited. Despite the difficulties of the pandemic, I believe that the Games will succeed. Also, China celebrates the Lunar New Year, so we have 2 happy occasions. The Olympic Games mean, first of all, Olympic spirit, peace, cohesion, and health. I believe that the Winter Olympics will bring a new spirit not only with good results, but also with a greater unity of the nations of the whole world.